Hello, Toonami! Hope you're all doing well wherever you are. Whether you're listening from the heart of Newcastle or tuning in from somewhere far away, you already know. Newcastle United is the best team in the world. No questions asked. And today, we've got a story that hits close to home. We're talking about Sean Longstaff, one of our own, and the surprising twist in his Newcastle journey. So here's the deal. Manchester United, yes, that lot, are now scouting Sean Longstaff. Again. Can you believe it? The same club that once laughed at our $50 million valuation for him back in 2019 are now back sniffing around. That's right. Back then, they were stunned by how much we rated Sean. He had just broken into the first eye. Team was showing serious promise, and Newcastle made it clear he wasn't going anywhere for cheap. And fair play, we stood firm. Now fast forward to 2024, and the script has changed. While we've all seen Longstaff grow from a raw academy kid into a key member of our squad, he's now being linked again with a move away. This time it's not just the red side of Manchester interested. Everton are in the picture too. But the fact that Manchester United are sending scouts to watch him is what's got everyone talking again. Now let's be real, Longstaff isn't always the flashiest name on the team sheet. He doesn't make headlines every weekend, but what he brings to this team is commitment, work rate, and a connection to the badge that you can't teach. He's black and white through and through. The lad's contract runs until summer 2026. But if the club don't look to extend that soon, this summer might be the best time to cash in. From a business perspective at least. But here's the emotional side. He doesn't want to leave. Not really. He stayed through January, even though there was interest, just to be part of the Carabao Cup final. And what a moment that was. Lifting a trophy with his boyhood club, that's stuff dreams are made of. And if this is the beginning of a new era for Newcastle, you'd hope players like Longstaff would be part of that story. Still, competition in midfield is fierce. Bruno, Joelinton, Tonali, and the rising star Lewis Miley, plus Joe Willock when fit. There's a lot of talent in that engine room. And in modern football, player trading is part of the game. We haven't been great at it historically. And let's be honest, if we want to spend smart and stay within PSR restrictions, selling a player like Longstaff could help fund some serious reinforcements. But I'll tell you this, losing Longstaff wouldn't sit right with a lot of fans. Because when you look at what makes Newcastle special, it's not just the flashy signings. It's the lads who grew up dreaming of playing at St. James Park. And Sean Longstaff is exactly that. Selling him might make sense on paper, but from the heart, it would be tough to take. So let's see what happens. If the club are planning to back Eddie Howe this summer and spend properly again, we may need to say goodbye to some familiar faces. But if Sean does leave, I think we all hope it's on good terms, with his head held high, and knowing he gave everything for the black and white shirt. Alright, that wraps up part 1 of today's chat. Let me know if you're ready to continue and dive into the second half, where things get a bit heated, with some spicy words from Steve Bruce and a surprising blast from the past involving Gale. Alright, Toonami, we're back, and this one is going to stir up some old emotions, because when it comes to Newcastle United's recent past, Steve Bruce's reign is one of those chapters most of us would rather forget, but it's just been dragged back into the spotlight. So, here's what happened. Gale, who spent years at Newcastle and bagged some important goals in black and white, was recently on a podcast talking about his time at the club. And let's just say, he didn't hold back when it came to Bruce's management style. Gale basically said that Steve Bruce didn't do much coaching, didn't focus on tactics, and only really got involved on the training ground when the Saudi takeover was about to go through. Ouch. According to Dwight, Bruce suddenly laced up his boots, grabbed a whistle, and started shouting instructions, right at the end, when his job was on the line. And Gale didn't stop there. He said that Bruce would just send the lads out with no real game plan. They were asking for tactical help for weeks, especially before big games like the one against Man City. And Bruce's response, "I don't do tactics. Just put your boots on and work hard." That's what Dwight says he was told. Can you believe that? This is Premier League football, not Sunday League. Now, fair play to Dwight for being honest. He's 35 now, playing up in Scotland for Hibernian, and clearly felt it was time to set the record straight. But of course, it didn't take long for Steve Bruce to fire back. After his Blackpool side beat Northampton 2-0 in League One, Bruce was asked about Gale's comments by the BBC, and his reply, pure sarcasm. He said, "Is that the legendary Dwight Gale who missed the chance in the quarter-final against Man City? Wow, that's cold." Then he followed it up with, "I've managed over 1,000 games, but apparently I don't know what I'm doing." Now look, we all know Bruce has had a long career in football, but if we're being honest with ourselves as Newcastle fans, that period under him was painful. The football was flat, the tactics were basic, and it felt like the club was just drifting. We weren't building anything, we were just surviving. And for a fan base like ours, that's not enough. When you hear players like Gale speak out, it just confirms what so many of us felt watching from the stands or at home. There was no identity, no clear plan, and it took the new ownership, Eddie, Howe, and a proper coaching structure to bring life back into the club. Now Bruce is trying to lead Blackpool back into the championship. And fair enough, he's got his own path to walk. But his response to Gale felt more like bitterness than reflection. Instead of taking the criticism on board, he took cheap shots. That's not what leaders do. And let's not forget, Gale and Matty Ritchie weren't the only ones asking for better. You could see it in the performances. The lack of intensity, the strange tactical setups, the players looking lost at times. It all added up. But here's the good news. Toon Army, that era is over. We've moved on. We've got a manager who actually coaches, who improves players, and who's building something special at St. James's Park. Our players now talk about learning, growing, and understanding their roles. That wasn't happening under Bruce, and that's why fans were frustrated. At the end of the day, Dwight Gale spoke the truth many of us already knew, and Bruce's reaction, well, it says a lot about why it didn't work out here. So let's keep our focus on what really matters. The future. The passion, the pride, the progress. We've got a team we can believe in again, and a club that's fighting for something more than just survival. And honestly, that's all we ever wanted. Thanks for sticking with us, Toon Army. If you enjoyed today's update, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive Newcastle United content right here. From the Academy stories to the dressing room drama, we cover it all with honesty, passion, and pride. Until next time, take care of yourselves, back the lads, and never forget, away the lads!